Hi, I'm Harriet Tinker, and here are this week's top stories that we have for you. City of Edmonton changes plan to its garbage collection program. Edmonton College adapts jobs training program in the face of COVID-19. Coronavirus Project Cool Times and Diversity TV brings to you a business panel to share some COVID-19 survivor tips coming up after this newscast. Now, the news in detail. City of Edmonton changing garbage collection program. The way we sort, set out, and collect waste in Edmonton is changing. All single-unit homes and some multi-unit homes will receive new carts between March 2021 and August 2021. New collection services include a food scraps cart that will be collected weekly in spring, summer, and fall, and every 2 weeks in the winter. A garbage cart that will be collected every 2 weeks. Recycling collected weekly in blue bags with no volume limits. 2 seasonal yard waste collection in spring and 2 in the fall with no volume limits. Educate yourself on the new changes at edmonton.ca/waste. Monthly waste rates for residential curbside collection from January 1st to September 30, 2021 is currently $47.22, and from October 1st, 2021, the monthly rates will be $43.32 for small 120 liters garbage cart, $48.32 for large 240 liters garbage cart, $58.32 for excess 360 liters garbage cart. Calgary waste collection fee is 50% less than that of Edmonton, a huge difference that has raised some eyebrows in Edmonton. On a Facebook chat response, the city said, "It's difficult to compare costs across municipalities as strategic goals, programs, and services, costs and funding mechanisms all vary." They explained that Edmonton's waste fees appear higher than Calgary's because Calgary's waste and recycling services receives a tax supported of approximately $20 million a year. By comparison, property taxes are not used to fund any waste programs in Edmonton. Edmonton's waste programs and services have been funded solely by a user fee from the waste utility rate since 2009. Be your brother's keeper during the tough period of COVID-19. In tough COVID-19 times, where you're wrestling with restrictions and vaccines, that is a luxury that kids in some countries do not dream of, as they still pray for basics like education. A Red Deer-based organization is looking at supporting kids in a war-torn country to support their education. Zainab Mohamud joins us to talk about her education project in Somalia and how you can help with teachers' salaries or sponsor a child's education. Listen to Zainab in her own words.
Actually, this year we can issue tax receipt whoever donate through our website or through our GoFundMe. So this education for Somali boys and girls, we have it last almost 6 years. And we have orphan kids, we have kids underprivileged, and we support paid teachers. We also have a sponsorship where individual can pay $35 Canadian or a month, or they can donate, or they can do one-time payment as $350, and they get tax receipt. And that $15 actually goes to, half of the goes to the child and half goes to the teachers. And we have a third project where we want to build residence for the kids, but that one is we need more money, so we kind of put on hold for now. So this year we're focusing to be able to pay teachers May 2021 to February to August 2021. So that year, whole year. So we're hoping that people can, we know that, a lot of people lost their jobs, there's a lot of hardship, but imagine other countries where there are more hardship, people don't have, kids cannot able to pay schools, teachers, we cannot afford to pay because of the kids no pay fees, right? The kids go for free for the school. So we want to able to kids to be able to go to school and they don't have to think about, they don't have money to pay school. So we're hoping that Canadian can open their heart and their wallet and donate whatever they can afford. And they can go to our website, or they can go to our GoFundMe. I think you would put the website. We have a website. Our website is called educationforsomali.org, or either they can go GoFundMe and look for Education for Somali Boys and Girls Foundation. And we can follow our Facebook where we actually have the events.
Wonderful. There's many places that we can find you. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for what you're doing, because that's a big deal. It's something that's very needed. Fashion of the Week. This week, Fashion of the Week takes us to B&P Boutique in the Northland Village Mall in Calgary. Need a classic and elegant outfit for your next event? This two-piece outfit of long mermaid fishtail with matching prop top fully beaded with rhinestone will be the perfect for that occasion. It's available from large to 2 extra large in different colors. For more information, please visit www.bellandposh.com. Diversity Profile of the Week. This week, we're proud to highlight Crazy Jerk, a Jamaican restaurant on 1715 52th Street, Southeast Calgary. Since 2013, Crazy Jerk has been serving delicious jerk chicken, oxtail, and many other wonderful stuff made from scratch at the restaurant. Hear from the owners in their own words.
Everybody, my name is Prince Gray, and I'm here with Miss Rita Gordon, and we are the owners of Crazy Jerk Restaurant here on 17th Ave in Calgary, Alberta. And we are here just giving out amazing Jamaican food to our customers. We have many, many different items considering like oxtail and jerk chicken with fresh ingredients. We have many different special drinks that we make in-house as well.
Coronavirus Project Cool Times. This week, Alberta Health reported scams where victims are asked to provide personal information, send money, or buy gift cards to secure COVID-19 vaccine early. If you've received such a call, contact Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre or your local police. Alberta relaxes selected COVID-19 measures. While indoor gatherings remain prohibited, up to 10 people will be allowed at outdoor social gatherings. Personal and wellness services will be allowed to open by appointment only for services such as salons, barbershop, aesthetics, reflexology, tattoo, and piercing shops. Funeral ceremonies attendance will be increased to 20 people with mandatory masking and 2-meter physical distancing. Funeral receptions are still not allowed. All Albertans, businesses, organizations, and service providers must continue to follow all other existing health measures. Dr. Dina Henshaw, Chief Medical Officer of Health. Also, Alberta is expanding its relaunch grant for small businesses to include new businesses from the first week of February. Diversity TV International News. Uganda Election Commission proclaimed 35 years in power dictator Yoweri Museveni as the winner of the January 14 election in Uganda, with the main challenger, Robert Kyagulanyi, aka Bobby Wine, put under house arrest after contesting the results publicly. Dish of the week. Our dish of the week is tomato stew. She pours the fresh tomato blend into a pot and cook with onion and palm oil until most of the water is dried up. This week, dish of the week features a cook in Calgary, Bola of Flavors Kitchen, as she prepares tomato stew with fresh tomatoes in her kitchen at the restaurant. A popular sauce in Africa and beyond, tomato stew is eaten with fried plantains, dodo, boiled plantains, rice, bread, or it can be eaten with any food you so wish. You can try the mouth-watering tomato stew at Flavors Restaurant in Calgary. Edmonton College adjusts its job training program in the face of COVID-19. An Edmonton-based college, Solomon College, shares with Diversity TV how it has adapted its job training program to meet the changing COVID-19 times. Former Solomon College student Namin shares her journey from Solomon College food training program to her new job, with instructors Monica and Gary sharing what they did to support.
I learned very important things. I learned about food safety, first aid, management, leadership, learning about supervising, developing employees, marketing, business, communication. The program improved my skills. I have never worked in the food service industry before, but what I learned from the course, it helped me a lot to have a job in the food service. They brought me 1 month training in this place. I'm working for edible arrangement. This is store for fruit and chocolate dipping fruit. I had 1 month training there, and after that I worked with them. It was a training. They give me experience, and I have 5 certificates from this course. Yes, I have 5 certificates: food safety, first aid, protect, serve, and WMAS. I recommend this course for anyone newcomer in Canada. This is good beginning if you want to have a job in the food service industry.
In the way that we've adapted our classroom for COVID using a new online tool that has changed the way that we talk and meet, and as well the way we have assignments and materials. And we've always had Google Classroom, but some of the structure and the ability to use these tools has kind of forced the teachers to go back to the classroom and learn and develop just like the students.
A lot of things actually, Franklin, have remained the same. Our food service program, continues to see students, becoming really well prepared to work in this sector of employment. Even in a pandemic, we're seeing a lot of students, getting some very practical experience and find, that they're reaching their goals. So yeah, Gary is right. We've adapted the way that we're doing that. We're mostly meeting online, and when we can, we meet in person. But we're still seeing students doing their practicums in person. We're setting up some new partnerships with organizations that are going to continue to need people working in food service, like long-term care. But in terms of what's changed, yeah, Gary's right. We're moving online, and as a result, I would say we're seeing a lot of people growing in their computer skills, which is also really important for having those skills for the workplace.
There are about 30 different topics relating to food service, professionalism, business, leadership, communications that they learn about from many textbooks, from learnings, from our experience. And then in the afternoon, they are challenged to apply them and develop those skills in actual scenarios and situations and answering and deciding. And these are the things we want them to leave the program after 5 months with: some knowledge about things, some ability to do things, and also position themselves more confidently with these skills. So that if there are 6 people applying for a job, we are mindful that the benefit of this program should have them feel like they offer value, can step in and be confident in a job, and an employer will select them because they present themselves well, they're willing to work with others. And then the program, the 6th month, is an actual work placement where we coordinate and cooperate with some partners to place our students where they are able to provide some work for the outplacement, but an assessment. How well did they do? Tell us a little about what you would have liked them to come more prepared as, or tell us why they were good.
Announcements. The Fort Saskatchewan Multicultural Association invites your kids to Yoga for Kids on Saturday, January 23rd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Anyone can join through their Facebook page. Are you an international educated professional? The Global Talent Conference in Edmonton is looking to connect and be inspired. This year, the Edmonton Region Immigrant Employment Council, ERIC, will co-host the first Alberta Global Talent Conference with their counterpart in Calgary, the Calgary Region Immigrant Employment Council, CREAC, and it will be virtual. This year's theme is Redefining Mentoring and Networking, to take place on Thursday, February 25th, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. To register, please go to ERIC or CREAC's website. Businesses within Edmonton's business improvement areas, BIAs, may be eligible for a rebate of up to 3 months of the 2020 BIA tax if they were closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the form of a credit to their business tax account. The rebate is part of the Edmonton Economic Recovery Grant as the city makes an effort to help businesses hurt by the pandemic. To be eligible, a business needed to have been closed for a minimum of 2 weeks in 2020 because of the pandemic and earned zero revenue while closed. The rebate is only applicable to the BIA tax and not to any other type of federal or provincial tax. The application deadline is February 28. To apply, go to the City of Edmonton website. The City of Calgary is providing up to 400 more small businesses and artists with free online stores between February 1st and March 31st. This is part of Shop Here, powered by Google. Shop Here's goal is to get 50,000 deserving companies Canada-wide online so they can reach a wider audience for their products and bring in new revenue. They hire university students to build these websites for registered small businesses, including home-based companies, artists, service providers like hair salons and auto shops, and more. Learn more on the City of Calgary website. From experience, I realized that data speaks louder than mere words when pushing for policy change within the government cycle. Hence, I am committed to social research as a powerful tool to lobby for a better representation for the marginalized African communities in Canada in major socio-economic and socio-political spheres. Godwin Ude. Godwin currently leads a research survey on disinformation among marginalized African Canadian communities. Here with us today is Godwin to share with us why this research is important.
Our goal in Kingdom Arts Foundation is to connect our people to policymakers. By God's grace, I have been in this country for about 16 years. I studied in US up to PhD level. I've also been to UK, to University of Oxford, where I did some research. I realized that in North America, especially in the Western world, data speaks louder than words. Data speaks louder than mere activism. And in Africa, we think that we can get things done just by shouting and screaming. Obviously, that should be a crude way of putting forth your policies or putting forth your agenda. Here, I realized in Canada that you may have a legitimate need as a marginalized group. Of course, we do. We suffer from systemic racism and some inclusion challenges, bullying for our kids, discrimination in workplaces, and also some of our new immigrants from war-torn African countries, they go through a lot of emotional problems, mental illnesses. Some of the kids drop out from school. Most of the kids suffer from bullying. Some of them get pimped into drug dealing. Most of the kids don't live with their parents. They actually overpower their parents because the parents cannot discipline them. So we have a major crisis especially in the African community here in Canada, and especially where we have larger populations, especially in Edmonton and in Calgary, here in BC and in Toronto. And I thought of finding a way to connect our needs as a community with policymakers, both in the provincial and the federal government level. And we've been able to secure this particular research project with the Department of Canadian Heritage of the federal government of Canada. So they believed in this research and they wanted us to conduct this research and provide the report to them, which will inform their policies with respect to planning for the marginalized African Canadian communities. And we are looking for African communities and leaders in African organizations around Canada to help with the data so that we can produce this report and submit it to the Department of Canadian and Heritage. And we have also developed a questionnaire which would help your listeners contribute to this research. Now, once we get the survey completed, we take it up from there. We will write what we call research report. In that research report, we will indicate some of the challenges of disinformation or fake news amongst African Canadian communities. And we'll also discuss why there are such disinformation in our communities. Most of our community members do not have access to the internet. Some of them probably believe what their friends or neighbors tell them. And also some of them don't even understand what is happening around them. They have no idea how the Canadian system works. They don't even watch televisions. If they do, they only watch maybe African movies or African home movies. So they are oblivious and ignorant of what is going on around their communities.
I want to thank you so much for participating on this platform, and your voice is heard. So all we can do now is get the data, get it going, and then your initiative will become alive. So thank you so much for sharing this information, and we hope to speak to you soon again, Dr. Godwin. Dr. Bukola Salami of the University of Alberta has completed a research on mental health in Black communities in Edmonton. She's here to tell us what she found. Welcome, Dr. Bukola. Very happy to have you here and really talk about what your findings were.
Much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to share. We interviewed 30 Black youth and had conversation cafes with 99 youth. So altogether 129 youth. And we found that some of the factors that contribute to mental health of youth include racism and discrimination, including anti-Black racism, cultural expectation, academic expectation, and also sense of community and spirituality and religion, as well as intergenerational relationships. Factors that contribute to access to mental health services. Some of those factors include lack of Black representation in mental health service delivery and professionals, the cost of mental health services, the geographical barriers related to mental health, and lack of knowledge related to mental health services, stigma and judgmentalism, and also the culture of independence.
Oh, excellent. Now, when it comes to your findings, what would you be the recommendations that you'd really like to recommend to the community? Because this is it's something that's been going on, and with COVID-19, it's probably even magnified. Not only are they affected by those issues that you talked about, but COVID-19 and the isolation really has put the thermometer up. What would you recommend for these youths?
So there are several recommendations in terms of also addressing anti-Black racism, which has an influence on mental health, addressing issues related to stigma and discrimination and the stigma of mental health within the community, and also having spaces for Black youths that are healthy spaces for Black youths to address their mental health, integrating, addressing the socioeconomic outcomes related to Black communities, and addressing, because we know that income is a social determinant of health, and also increasing the diversity of mental health service professionals, and ensuring that there are more Black people providing mental health services and easily accessible information on mental health. And I think there's a lot that can also be done from the community level in terms of integration of religion into mental health service delivery, and also engaging parents in addressing mental health services. So some of the youths, many of the youths, for example, talked about some of the challenges that they encountered with parents and mental health service delivery.
Wow, that's a lot. I really, I think that what you've said today is something that all of us really can really learn from what you're saying, because mental health it's not like physical health. Mental health is invisible but real. So what most people don't, there's always that stigma of mental health when people are going through, they feel, oh, I don't want to talk about it because people are going to judge me. So what you've shared today is really valuable to our audience, and you've really unpacked a lot of things that we're going to go forward with. So thank you so much for sharing that information. Your study is so valid, especially now with COVID-19. It's something that we all need to be aware that mental health is real. It's invisible, but real. So thank you for sharing that, Dr. Salami. And we will see you soon, because this subject is going to be ongoing. Thank you again. Thank you for watching Diversity TV Community Newscast from Harriet Tinker. See you next week. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you are the first to get the video when we upload it. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Also, check out on our website at diversityplus.ca. Diversity TV in the community. This week, Diversity Panel focuses on business marketing survival tips in COVID-19 times. We put together a team of business experts from Micro Business Training Center, business consultants, and business owners in Alberta to share their experiences and tips. Our panel of experts are bubbling to share some business survivor tips. Enjoy and learn from these fantastic panelists. Our panel includes Kim Ann Wilson, founder of Savvy Sisters, a marketing agency in Edmonton, Perry Brooks from Micro Business Training Center, and Rhea will be facilitating the panel. So welcome everybody. We're excited to have all of you here. Now, so tell us, what are you hearing from the community? What are the things that really the community who have their own businesses? I know a lot of them are going through ups and downs. You know, some businesses have closed, and of course, there's some that are barely surviving. So please share some tips on how they can continue to survive during this COVID-19 economic pandemic.
So within my agency, what we're seeing obviously is with the restrictions, people aren't allowed to, go out and kind of do what they need to do to market their business when it comes to offline marketing, right? So a lot of their sales are taking a hit that way, right? Especially for people within, the Black community, they rely on a lot of the traditional ways of marketing your business. So what we're seeing a lot of is, that panic in a sense about, their drop in sales and how they can maintain and upkeep all their operations. So that's one of the challenges that I'm facing with some of my clients. How about you, Perry?
Well, really no different. I mean, COVID hit everybody very similarly. There's been a few people that have done well with it. Those that are, in that medical field and stuff, they've done well. But for the most part, people really have suffered, and it's troubling. There are some things that are different that are actually in a positive way when it comes to COVID as well, though. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that at some point.
Yes, I also have survival tips during these times that they could implement in their businesses. That's
Sure. So this is not something new to us. We have been giving instructions and tips on how businesses can stay afloat and kind of some of the things that they can implement right now that can help them, drive sales or maintain sales. And we've been doing that since last year, July, pretty much. Obviously, the first thing that I want to implore all business owners to do is to go digital, obviously. That's the world, that's the way to run business now, is by going digital. And it's kind of more or less taking yourself out of the equation, not worrying about yourself and you showing your face and, oh my gosh, I don't look the right way and all these things. It's more about meeting your customers' needs, right? So taking self out of it and literally going digital, whether that means for you to, create an online portfolio for yourself, right? So you need to show up where your customers are. So if most of your customers are on social media, like Instagram or TikTok, wherever their platform of choice is, you also need to show up there, right? Because you need to build your brand awareness. You need to gain credibility, right? These assets and these platforms are easily accessible by not just people in Edmonton, but people all around the world. So you have a wider reach, right? You get to build a community and network that way as well. And you get to showcase your brand personality. So that's just one of the ways that, businesses can pivot and take advantage of the digital world that we're living in. And I don't know if people are paying attention. Obviously I do, because this is my field. As of June 2020, the marketing stats show that e-commerce sales are up by 120%. And that was as of June, right? Compared to the same time in 2019. So if you're not thinking about taking your products or your services online and ways you can do that, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. And that's probably why you're seeing the drop in sales that you're currently seeing. So I'll pause there. I have more tips, but I'll pause there and let Perry, you can jump in.
Oh, thanks, Kim. Those are excellent suggestions. And it really points the way for the future is digital. I'm going to talk a little bit more about about sales and one-on-one sales. So when the COVID hit, it just changed everything. And salesmen that used to be on the road, suddenly they were at home, and we're all just got a little bit lost for a little while. But there's three things that changed with COVID. And the first thing is, there was a time when you had to talk to people face to face. If you wanted to do work at the Joffrey gas plant, they wouldn't even talk to you. They expected you to drive to Joffrey. It took your whole day, and that was the cost of doing business up there. Nowadays, they'll talk to you on Zoom. So that's a positive thing. The second thing is, now more than ever, you can get to the decision maker. So often when you make a sales call and you're trying to talk to the decision maker, which we always call the boss, you know, who's there? We have the receptionist, and that person is stopping you from seeing them because they're busy. They got a million things on the go. They just don't have time. Today is different. Everything's slowed down. Lots of places have laid off people like receptionists, and sometimes it's the boss themselves that are answering the phone now. So for the very first time, we're able to actually connect directly to the decision makers. It's been easier than ever. And then finally, the third thing is people or businesses are more willing to look at different suppliers now than they ever were before. So you can imagine if you have a business and it's just going full tilt, and you're working your 10, 12 hours a day because you're the guy, but you're making money, you don't want to change anything. You don't want to change the janitors. You want to change the people that clear your snow. You don't want to change anything because you just don't have time. Now we fast forward to today. Oh boy, that bottom line's not looking so good. We need to cut back. Now all of a sudden, when you show up and say, hey, I have a different solution that might save you some money, people are more willing to listen to that than they ever were before. So there's three things that have changed during COVID that it helps with sales.
Goes back to the point of, I think, that Kim was also making about having to be creative during these times, because I know some businesses more than others have been affected. So like food businesses or event businesses have really been COVID. So I guess maybe they need to have some creativity in how, they kind of manage these times, because, most of them are based on social interaction or social gatherings, which have been banned for the meantime. And so how are businesses managing COVID restrictions? And, I'm hearing that the vaccine is going to be rolling out sometime in the middle of this year.
I think more than ever, the world of business was just turned on its head. So we went from a time where our the things that we talked about in business was about increasing sales and how to get market share and this kind of stuff. Suddenly we're talking about government money and how do we handle it? How many people we can go down to, and we're approaching employees and saying, we got to cut back. So do we want to lose some people, or does everyone want to cut back their hours? Like, it really has changed the way we think. And one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs is entrepreneurs love to go up and they're terrible at going down. So when the economy gets better, we're great at buying new buildings and hiring new people and doing more stuff. But when things slow down, we tend to drag our feet because we're always like reaching for the moon. So one of the challenges we have is this is a time when we do have to shrink back for the most part. And so we need to just change our thinking.
Yeah, I agree with you, Perry. And I kind of want to jump on the back of what you said in terms of, stepping back a little bit. Don't forget to, with the restrictions on going out, and the focus being on digitally. This is a really, really good time for business owners to look around them to see who they can collaborate and partner with, right? And see what kind of packaging in terms of being creative, see how you can package, or put together a package that would be beneficial to your joint customers, right? So it's like you have sausage and you have a bun. Obviously, those two are compatible together in selling, a hot dog. So if you're the baker and then you're someone who's in meat, obviously you guys can collaborate and work on how to push a product forward. So don't despise the fact that it's a quieter time. Take the time to look around you and see who you could partner with, right? And that being said, if there's nobody around that you can actually partner with, take the time to reevaluate your own marketing plan, reevaluate your processes, your systems, and see how you can become better, right? Because one of our clients, he has a car detailing auto spa, whatever, on the north side of town, and obviously with the limited disposable income that we're now experiencing, across the economy, across the country. He's had to be creative in a sense. And one of the things we're doing with him, they launched last year, they opened last year, and obviously things it's been challenging in a sense, but we've been able to sit down with him and reanalyze. And it's important to understand your ideal client. It's important to understand your audience, and it's important to understand who are you selling to, right? What need are you filling the gap for? What solution, what problem do you have a solution for? And with that, it comes with, taking a step back and really getting down into the brain of your customer. If you're in business, you obviously do have current customers. Contact them, reach out to them and ask them, the hard questions. Why did you choose to buy from me? What was different from, the competitor? Or what stood out for you that made you want to purchase from me, right? These information will help you market your product in a better way, right? Understanding exactly what need you were able to fill and what solution you had for a particular problem. Because we live in a day and age where everything, there's multiple competition for everything, for pens, for water bottle, for cake, for everything. There's options. I do have an option. So why should I choose you? You need to sit down and figure out that why for yourself. And then that way you can actually speak to your audience in the language that they speak.
A marketing firm here in Edmonton called Savvy Sisters. And Perry, you own Advantage Cerns for Fort Saskatchewan and a new face on the macro business team, I believe. So I want to ask both of you, how have your businesses managed during this time, and how do we move forward after COVID?
Well, so I sold a sign company a few years back, but I have another company that I do. I provide some services out for some industrial plants. And so we weren't affected by COVID quite as much, other than that we had to adopt all the procedures that kind of come along with living in a pandemic. And of course we did that, and that's working out fine. But as we go forward, things aren't going to go back to the same. Things are going to be different. And they might be a lot different, or they might be a little bit different. So when Kim talks about talking to your customers, that is just so vital. I mean, you might have a company and you rent 10 trucks to this one company all the time. Well, that might not happen after COVID. Maybe they don't need to rent trucks. Maybe they need something different. Businesses that have survived have changed so much. So there was a story about a bookstore down in Edmonton that started, got out of a retail space, went online and then deliver books. And that seems weird to me. A year ago, someone said they delivered books from Edmonton. I'd be like, I don't see a need for that. But today there's a need for it. It came. And the only way you learn that is by doing what Kim says, which is you talk to your customers and find out what it is that they want.
Absolutely. Rhea, for us as a marketing agency, to be honest with you, COVID has been a blessing to us, in the sense that, our ideal clients are business owners, right? And we help them, for us, we help them elevate their brand's voice so that they can have a race in terms of market share. So with COVID affecting them, obviously they're looking for professionals, and you should be looking for professionals because, you're best at what you do. You're best at, creating your product. You're best at selling your service. You're not best at, reaching your ideal client. and especially the times that we're living in, you do need experts to navigate, the chaos of what COVID has caused, right? So I know right now everyone's being budget savvy and, really being careful in their spending. So, do take that time to just take a step back. And, at the end of the day, your customers want to see you as an individual. They want to understand you. There's a saying in marketing: people don't buy your product, they buy the story behind the product, right? Again, like I said, there's so many, different options. It's not necessarily they're going to buy this particular product just because it's the product. They support the business because of the story that resonates with them, right? The brand story. So take that time to build that out for yourself, and, do get on social media, right? The whole world pretty much now is looking to social media in a sense. That's where they get most of their information. That's where they get the news and updates as to what's going on. So if you are not representing your brand on social media, I'm sorry, but come COVID, after COVID, you're not really going to survive, because the other companies who are doing that will be way ahead of you. When the customer is ready to, make a purchase, they know exactly who to go to, because they've seen them on social media sharing how the product is being made, what goes into creating the product, the way it's created. And, they see the person showcasing their knowledge of that particular industry, of that particular product and the service. So you as a business owner need to kind of get out of your head, right? And get on social media, get in front of video, show your audience that you know what you're talking about. Show your audience that you are an expert in what you do. Show your audience how you make what you make, right? Acknowledge their problem, and just be real and be personable.
I'd even add on to that what Kim says. Like when I teach, I coach like young entrepreneurs, so they haven't had any business experience or anything, and they're always worried about sales. And I'm always like, your sales is your story. Tell your story. Everybody has beautiful, beautiful stories. Sometimes you have to massage them. You got to get them right so you get it. But if you learn, when you hear your story, and as long as as long as it's truthful and it comes from your heart, people see it, and people naturally want to help people out. So there's nothing wrong with going to people and saying, I've been struggling, of course, and this would really help me out. This is how I feed my kids.
Exactly, Perry. Just to jump on that one too, I do want to kind of, give an analogy. When it comes to you building your stories, I'm actually doing a 6-part series called Build Your Brand on Instagram. I do it live every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. So feel free to jump in and see what I talk about there. But just yesterday, what I was sharing yesterday about building your brand image and creating a strong brand image, it starts with your story, right? And be honest in your story. Don't be too fluffy. If you make candles, don't be like, I want all women to feel beautiful, and I want women to feel, have a nice environment and the scent. No. Be honest. Say, you know what? I started this company because COVID really affected me. And when I go to the stores, what I bought had chemicals in it, and it started affecting me. So I decided to create an all-natural brand so that women can have the same experience, feel beautiful, have a great environment, and it all be natural. That is a story, and that's what would resonate with people, not the fluff.
Hooray for Kim. 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim and Perry, for that. I think we're going to go over to Harriet now.
Yeah, thank you, Rhea, and thank you so much. I learned so much from both of you. I think and our audience did too. Some of the things that I got from you, and I know you said quite a lot, is number one is go digital. That's one thing I really got from you, and also be very innovative. I understand that Kim also mentioned that you should really try to close that gap between having a problem and solution, really close it and understand your customer very well. And that's very key. And as far as marketing, I know that Perry, you mentioned that you had 3 tips, of course, but I'm just going to highlight the ones that I remember on top of my head, because you mentioned quite a few. Number one, you said that it's a good time because we can reach the business owner quite easily now. It's easy to reach the business owner, and also some areas that some businesses would never take a chance on. Now they get the opportunity, because now people will take risk and really try to see what these other business owners who before COVID, likely they would not even have gotten an opportunity. So many great tips. And I know our audience are excited. I know we're going to have both of you back here again, because I learned so much, and I wrote down so many notes on what you said. So value added information.